Folks, are you ready? Because we're about to talk about legislation. But not your average, everyday, this is how the government works kind of thing. No, we're talking about legislation that is poised to reshape the landscape of digital product security across the European Union, that will impact designers, manufacturers, distributors, and more. Yes, my friends, we are talking about the EU Cyber Resilience Act, or CRA, and everything you need to know to make sure that your next design is compliant with this security mandate. We've got requirements, stipulations, and solutions to explore. So we better get started. Hi, I'm Amelia Dalton, host of Chalk Talk. In this episode of Chalk Talk, Preeti Khemani from Infineon and I investigate the scope, categories, and standards included in the EU Cyber Resilience Act. We also explore the timelines associated with the EU Cyber Resilience Act, and discover how Infineon is streamlining compliance to ensure that your next design meets CRA requirements. And before we get started, don't forget to click that link. There you can find even more information about this topic from Infineon. Hi, Preeti. Thank you so much for joining me.
Hi, Amelia.
All right, so we're talking about the EU Cyber Resilience Act and how Infineon can help with compliance with the EU Cyber Resilience Act. So, first up, why is this topic so important right now?
Yeah, Amelia, we are going to talk about the EU Cyber Resilience Act. We are here today to discuss one of the most significant pieces of legislation impacting the digital product landscape in Europe, and in my opinion, globally. The CRA is not just a regulatory hurdle, it is a catalyst for embedding security as a competitive advantage. My goal today would be to show you how Infineon is simplifying this journey. While I'm providing engineering guidance, please remember this is not legal advice. So, answering your question, why is it important today? Let's start with why CRA is necessary. You see, the numbers are staggering and represent a fundamental shift in the global threat landscape. First, the threat itself. We see a 400% increase year on year in IoT malware attacks. Connected products are prime targets, and the scale of these attacks are growing exponentially. Second is the cost. Cybercrime is an economic crisis with an estimated global annual cost of a whopping 5.5 trillion euros. This is a cost of poor security, and it is a cost that manufacturers and the supply chain must absorb. And third, the scope. The European Union projects 6.56 billion connected IoT devices by 2030. This massive expansion of the digital landscape means the attack surface is growing faster than ever before. The CRA is European Commission's direct response to this reality. For manufacturers, the stakes are simple. Security is no longer a feature, but a mandatory condition for doing business in the European market. The outcome of successful compliance on an European law is the familiar CE mark and the EU Declaration of Conformity. Historically, the CE mark has attested to product safety. For now, digital products, it will also attest to your product's cybersecurity resilience. This is a clear signal to your customers and end users that your product meets a stringent, harmonized standard of security. Getting this stamp of trust is necessary for manufacturers to sell their connected digital products in the EU single market.
So, Preeti, let's talk more about the EU Cyber Resilience Act. First, what was the motivation to create this program?
Sure. Let me talk about the scope, the critical dates, and product categories that define your compliance path and what manufacturers need to know to achieve the CE mark for CRA compliance. The CRA applies broadly to virtually all connected hardware and software sold within the EU single market. This includes finished products and components, meaning your obligations extend to the security of your supply chain. If your product has a digital element and can connect to the network, it is very likely in scope. CRA is designed so that the digital products are developed with security in mind from the start, a security by design philosophy. The penalties for non-compliance are severe as well and designed to have a proportional impact on the business. They include administrative fines up to 15 million euros or 2.5% of total worldwide annual turnover, whichever is higher. Additionally, products could face the risk of recall. The financial risk alone makes proactive compliance a top business priority for market integrity and reputation. While assessing scope, be careful that products that in first glance fall under out of scope could still be required to comply with CRA if these are dual use products. The same holds for open source projects and reference codes originally developed for non commercial use or for references. If they are used as part of commercial product, then the manufacturer is obligated to include these for CRA compliance as well.
What does the CRA timeline look like? The regulation was published back in 2024, right?
That's correct. The regulatory clock is ticking, Amelia, and the most critical dates are rapidly approaching. The regulation itself was published in November 2024. However, the key dates for action are coming up. In September this year, manufacturers must already start complying with the incidence reporting obligations. This means your vulnerability management processes need to be mature and operational long before the date. The deadline for full compliance on products and process is December 2027. This is when products must be fully security by design compliant to bear the CE mark. Given typical product development and certification cycles, in my view, the time to act is now. So, products are ready and compliant for their 2027 launches.
So, talk to me a bit about the requirements for CRA.
Compliance with the CRA demands excellence in three key areas: product security, vulnerability management, and information and labeling. On the product security outcome side, this means implementing security by default. This includes protection against unauthorized access, ensuring data confidentiality and integrity, and providing secured commissioning and decommissioning processes. The crucial point here is security updatability and event logging, which must be built on the hardware and software architecture from day one. Next is the vulnerability management process. This introduces high stakes operational requirements. You must provide security updates for a minimum of 5 years. This has significant implications for product life cycles, planning, and support costs. Manufacturers must maintain an SBOM software bill of material and keep it available for up to 10 years. This mandates supply chain transparency. Manufacturers could face strict reporting timelines for vulnerability disclosures as well, which means they need to report to the EU central point in ESA and to customers. For critical incidents, the clock starts ticking at 24 hours. And last, not least, is the information and labeling requirement. This requires clear documentation on security updates, intended use, security properties, and a central point of contact for vulnerability handling. Infineon solutions are engineered to directly address these product level requirements, giving manufacturers the foundation to build a compliant process.
CRA can cover a wide range of devices and systems, right? So, how do you define what is considered good?
That's correct. CRA is a very broad piece of legislation. So it is important that we understand what is good. CRA takes a risk based approach, sorting products into four categories based on the potential impact, which determines the path to its conformity. Default class 0 is the catch-all category for common digital products like connected toys or smart home devices without specific security functions. Compliance to this class is through self-assessment. Important product class 1, these include higher risk devices like routers, modems, or personal variables with security functions. For this class, compliance is still via self assessment, but based on recognized EU harmonized standards. For important class 2, which is the next product category, this includes high risk critical components like tamper resistant microcontrollers, microprocessors, VPNs, and firewalls. For this class, third party assessment is required. And there is yet another, the highest risk category of products are critical class. These include secure elements, smart cards, and smart meters. They could require a stringent EU cybersecurity certification, though the exact certification requirements would follow in an CRA implementation act in future. As you can see, all products that provide security functionality are categorized as important or critical based on the criticality of the security functions fulfilled by the component or system. All digital connected products need to demonstrate the security outcomes with security testing to be able to affix the CE mark. Infineon security components fall into the important and critical categories. They are already built to meet these rigorous compliance standards. And by choosing our certified components, manufacturers can inherit a significant portion of this compliance burden, simplifying their journey to conformity.
So let's also talk about what we need to do to prepare for EU CRA. Preeti, what are the steps included in this process?
The challenge is clear, Amelia. The question now is what is the executable plan to get you to compliance, minimize risk, and maintain market access? The answer is a structured, collaborative approach. We propose a 4-step plan culminating in a partnership with Infineon. It starts with understanding, which means defining the CRA scope, compliance requirement, and what exemptions might apply to the portfolio. Next, you can identify pinpointing all affected products, components, and dependencies. This is the stage where manufacturers, device makers can start building their SBOM, software bill of materials. Then it is about assessment to perform a thorough and risk analysis against CRA NX1 and NX2 to plan necessary mitigations. And then it is about implementing and working with Infineon. This is where theory becomes reality. You implement security by design principles, establish vulnerability management processes, and prepare the mandatory CE documentation. By engaging with Infineon early, you gain a trusted partner to significantly accelerate this implementation phase.
Can you give me an example of what the documentation would look like?
Ultimately, compliance is all about providing the technical dossier, the evidence of security. This documentation is a living file that must be updated with every major release. Key elements, as you can see on the screen, include risk assessment reports, security test reports, the clear vulnerability handling process, and of course, your comprehensive SBOM detailing all third party components that have gone into your connected digital product. Infineon products provide the necessary hardware rooted features that simplify the generation of this evidence, turning complex engineering tasks into auditable and certifiable processes.
So, how can Infineon help me with my EU CRA compliance?
Amelia, Infineon doesn't just sell components. We provide the foundational elements that simplify, accelerate, and de risk your CRA compliance journey. Our value proposition rests on 3 pillars of trust and enablement that accelerate CRA outcomes for your products. Infineon security products have security by design as a core requirement, enabling faster conformity as evidence for customers. We offer solutions including secured key certificate provisioning and PQC, post quantum cryptography, ready security controllers and MCUs. Keys and certificates provisioned at Infineon secured common criteria certified sites reduce provisioning risks. This means you start with a trusted hardware root of security, speed up your conformity assessment. Next is our security solutions and tools. When you purchase an Infineon solution, you immediately simplify your documentation burden and gain transparency. We provide third party CESIP Common Criteria and PSA certified components. These are our microcontrollers, our wireless MCU modules, discrete secure elements that can best fit to meet your product CRA security outcomes. And we have easy to use robust software tools such as Modus Toolbox, Edge Protect Security Suite, and Deepcraft Studio, all with crucial lifecycle support and readily available SBOMs. Expertise and enablement is provided by Infineon's decade of security product and process experience. We are leaders in EU standards development, which means our expertise translates directly into implementation collaterals and training for your teams. We actively participate in Senelec and ETSI working groups and even lead the Senelec TC47X for semiconductor standard for CRA. We at Infineon are not just shipping parts, we are contributing to the standards that CRA will rely on, ensuring our products align with expected harmonized practices. In short, we provide the certified, proven foundation that allows you to confidently focus on your unique product features, knowing your security and compliance are anchored soundly in our products.
So, walk me through what a CRA checklist would include and what kind of engineering steps would be required.
Let me get specific here on the 5 mandatory security outcomes that CRA requires and how our core products, PSOC MCUs, Optiga TPMs, and Optiga TrustM map directly to them. The first is no unauthorized access. This requires a protected root of trust. Our components provide this hardware anchor. Security updates require authenticated over the air updates, OTAs. Our solutions enable that the update package is verified against the hardware root of trust before installation, maintaining the integrity of your product over its 5-year life cycle. Data protection mandates isolated key storage as an engineering outcome. We use secured hardware to store keys, isolating them from the main application processor where they are vulnerable to software attacks. Incident logging requires security audit logs and attestation as an engineering requirement. The Optiga TPM is a crucial differentiator here, providing TCG 2.0 compliant logging that gives you the irrefutable evidence needed for CRA incidents reporting. Vulnerability management relies on secured lifecycle management and provisioning. Infineon portfolio enables that at every stage, from manufacturing to field use, that is protected and traceable. In this manner, we are providing the engineering requirements that help you satisfy the CRA obligations.
So, let's step back a bit. Talk to me specifically about why we need hardware security anchors.
When choosing your architecture, the question is not if you need security, but how much. The CRA's risk based security by design approach guides this decision. For higher risk products, even though they are falling in the default category, a discrete hardware security anchor like a TPM or a tamper resistant microcontroller is essential. These isolate components provide the highest level of tamper resistance and key protection, mitigating the most severe risks and simplifying your CRA compliance path to third party certification. Another aspect, or rather, another question is where is your design cycle? Where are you in your design cycle? Do you want to add the security burden yourself? Or would discrete SCs, secure elements, and TPMs be used to ease this and help to retrofit security to your existing product designs?
Can you also talk about how these specific Infineon solutions can help address these different categories and security certifications?
Yeah, sure. This slide shows the breadth of our portfolio with an indicative mapping to CRA product categories. It illustrates our ability to support you regardless of your product's risk profile. We'll right size security to risk with Edge Protect categories and third party security certifications for no known vulnerabilities. From default all the way up to the critical category, Infineon offers solutions. Our Edge Protect category EPC framework clearly defines the hardware security level you need. Products like Optiga TPM and high end PSOC Edge MCUs with EPC4 offer a hardware isolated secure enclave and are explicitly positioned to address the most demanding requirements of CRA important class 2 and critical class of devices. By selecting from this map portfolio, you are selecting a validated, certifiable security foundation. Let's look closer at three key solution families that are cornerstone for CRA compliance. PSOC Edge 8X, this is our secured compute for Edge AI platform. It provides a full featured microcontroller with a built in root of trust, making it easier to implement security by default and enabling features like over the air updates with authentication. Optica TPM, the trusted platform module, is the industry standard for platform integrity and attestation. Its key differentiator is measured boot and remote attestation. This is vital for CRA's incident logging requirements, providing unforgeable proof of a device's current state of security. Optica TrustM, our dedicated IoT security made easy secure element, significantly can simplify your business processes by offering pre provisioned certificates to accelerate cloud onboarding and manufacturing, providing a strong device identity and secure TLS communication. As you can see, these products enable the CRA security outcomes, which is strong identity, integrity, secured updates, and our documentation friendly features.
So, what kind of evaluation kits would you recommend in this case?
Compliance begins at prototyping, you see. To get you started immediately on a compliant path, we offer reference architectures like the PSOC Edge E84 evaluation kit. This kit is designed to help you build references for CRA default and important class of devices. It includes the necessary hardware foundation with PSOC MCU and AROC connectivity and is supported by our software toolchain, giving you a fast track to security by design implementation.
So, Modus Toolbox can also help develop these kinds of applications, right?
Yeah, the hardware must be supported by streamlined software, and that is our motto. Our Modus Toolbox software is a flexible development environment for Infineon microcontrollers. It provides the tools and runtime assets like code examples and middleware you need to integrate security features efficiently. This environment simplifies the development, configuration, and debugging of CRA compliant applications.
Okay, so with CRA in particular, it's going to be important to get started right away, even though most of these requirements are still in development, right?
Amelia, the transition period is finite. December 2027 is quickly approaching, and the necessary processes and product changes require a multi year effort. Your window to market access and turn compliance into competitive trust is open right now. While many harmonized standards are still being finalized, the direction is clear: mandatory security baselines, lifecycle accountability, and verifiable compliance. Starting early reduces redesign risks and protects your product pipeline. My advice would be to establish robust vulnerability management and CE labeling processes for EU CRA compliance now. Integrate security by design and EU CRA security outcomes into your products. Leverage Infineon security solutions to add EU CRA security outcomes to your IoT devices quickly. Infineon is your partner to navigate the regulatory landscape. We provide the certified hardware, the enablement tools, and the deep expertise to help you establish a trusted, resilient, and compliant product portfolio. This is how we simplify the CRA implementation and compliance by embedding trust into your supply chain.
So, if my audience wants more information about CRA and Infineon's efforts here, where should they go?
I encourage you to visit Infineon's dedicated CRA webpage for additional resources, FAQs, and to contact a team for a detailed consultation on your product architecture. With this, Amelia, I thank you for listening to this Mouse a Chalk talk on EUCRA. I'm just putting that in.
Awesome. Well, I think that's all I have time for today. Thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you, Amelia, for having me.
And before we go, you didn't forget to click that link, did you? There you can find even more information about this topic from Infineon. For Chalk Talks, I'm Amelia Dalton from eejournal.com. For more Chalk Talks, head on over to the Chalk Talk section of EE Journal. You can't miss it, it's right across the top. Or head on over to YouTube, youtube.com/EEJournal.